Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick too. As I'm sure you guys are painfully aware, there's a lot of uniques that are an absolute pain in the ass to get in the game, such as the Tempest Roar, Penitent Greaves, Raiment of the Infinite, whatever it may be. A lot of these uniques are particularly build defining and they can be very difficult to actually go out of your way and obtain. Some of you guys are like level 100 and you haven't even gotten one probably. Let me know down in the comments if that's unfortunately you. But in today's video, that is going to change. There's been some changes made recently to the game that makes it significantly easier to just get uniques, and there's also some things that I've discovered along the way that can help you get as many uniques as I have in my inventory in like literally an hour. This was about an hour and a half of gameplay, and as you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not too bad. So I'm pretty sure if you just spend like a day doing this, you guys can get your Tempest Roar. Let me know down in the comments if it ends up working for you, but let's just get into it real quickly. Before I get into the video, I want to give a big thanks to today's sponsor, Tradery, which is a website where you can go over here and actually not only buy some like perfectly rolled gear with in-game gold, of course, nothing against the rules here, but you can also even sell some of the perfect gear that you're getting. So instead of just selling some of the perfect gear, such as like these pair of pants that I got on my druid that are really well rolled, or damage reduction pair of pants, rather than just selling this to a vendor, I could actually just head over to Tradery and probably post this and sell it for upwards of like 10 million gold. But also, if I'm looking for a new weapon, say on like my rogue or something, I can actually just filter it by weapon, and then boom, you can see there's a crossbow here with crit, vulnerable dexterity. That's a fantastic roll. Pretty low item power, but that's okay because it's just for my rogue, and I could re-roll the ultimate skill damage, and I could just hit this guy up, make an offer, and probably grab this item for a pretty nice penny. But also you can see this guy posted his weapon here. It's pretty good, and he's trying to sell it for 10 million gold. You can make a ton of gold this way, but it also is just a fantastic way to fill out your build and look for some of the items that you are missing. So make sure to check out tradery.com, and a huge thanks to them for sponsoring today's video. All right, so when it comes to farming uniques, there are two methods. The first method, which is simply just the best thing to do, is by doing the Helltides. They made it to where now the normal chests actually drop uniques, and they drop it at a fairly decent rate. For a little bit, there was a bug where it was dropping Shakos for barbarians and sorcerers because they don't have any other unique helmets in the pool. That did get disabled. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. But regardless, the Helltide chests now drop uniques pretty frequently. So there isn't really much to it. You pretty much just go to the Helltide and you just look around the map for the protection chests, because those are going to be the armor chests. Obviously, if you want like a weapon or something, you know, deviate and open the chest that you're looking for. But the protection chests, there's usually multiple of them. Which protection chest it's actually going to be, if you want like a helmet or something, is entirely variable. You should be able to open about 2 to 3 of these depending upon the armor slot that you're looking for, but of course it is entirely random. And as you can see, I got uniques from this. In terms of the most efficient way to actually do this, it's pretty simple. You just go into the Helltide, kill stuff, do events, whatever, pick up the cinders, and then open up the chest. And what's nice about the normal chests versus the mystery ones is you can actually just see them on the map. So you can very easily just open your own map, boom, see protection, and just head over there and see which one it actually ends up being. And they only cost 75 cinders, so it's very inexpensive, and you can pretty easily just go in there, spend a few minutes in the Helltide, and boom, just open up a bunch of chests for the specific item that you are looking for. Keep in mind though, usually the Helltide is in 2 separate sections, and you're only able to see which chests are on the map for the section that you're in. So for example, on the bottom here, I can see all of these protection chests, which I would want to go and look at. And after I look at all these, I'd want to go back up here and see which chests are up here. One thing to note is that these protection chests can respawn or like swap which one they are, but I have no idea how they do. I've tried to ask a bunch of other people how it works. Some people say top of the hour, some people say 5 minutes after the hour. I've tested it extensively. It seems random when they swap, what they swap to, which ones actually swap. I don't know. If you know more, let me know down in the comments. But just keep a lookout for the protection chests that you may have already ran by. But also, it is worth noting that the mystery chests can also drop uniques. While it isn't going to have a pretty high chance of dropping the unique that you're looking for, if you're just in the Helltide already, the mystery chests were already something that's worth doing because they're going to drop multiple legendaries as well as a good amount of Forgotten Souls. So if you're already there, if you want to spend like an hour each time you're in the Helltide, and you want to increase your chances of getting uniques, it's a good idea to just open up all of the protection chests for the slot that you're looking for first, and then spend some time getting the mystery chest opened. And then after you've done the mystery chest, then circle back and see the protection chest and see if they may have resets. Of course, if you don't already know, you guys can use helltides.com. Currently there is not a Helltide, but anytime that a Helltide shows up, it will actually show you guys where the mystery chests are if you're interested in opening those. Obviously though, the issue with Helltide, while it is probably your absolute best bet to get certain uniques and target farm them, it is not up all the time. It's only up every other hour, and if you're just getting home from work and it's not active or something like that, or you're just, you know, trying to grind out your certain unique literally all day, every day, and you got unlucky during the Helltide event, the next best thing to do is to actually do nightmare dungeons and try to complete them as quickly as humanly possible. The reason for trying to complete them as quickly as humanly possible, and I'll show you guys a way to actually reset them so you can indefinitely complete the same one over and over again for time efficiency. But when you actually complete nightmare dungeons, there's a very high likelihood of uniques dropping. While it is going to be entirely random, it is simply your best bet. I quickly want to mention target farming uniques because a lot of people do this and I want to just give my take on it. Feel free to target farm them, but basically there's this website. You can also do it on Maxwell, I think, I'm not sure. But basically, I can go into this website and do unique target farming, and I can be like, okay, on my druid, I want Tempest Roar, where is it? Boom, and then it'll tell me, okay, I want to go to Cultist Refuge, Conclave, and Serpent's Lair. This is because certain mob families have a higher drop rate technically of certain items. So for example, in Cultist Refuge, it has this particular type of item. I forget the monster type, I guess Cultist or Cannibal, right? And these have a slightly higher drop rate of Tempest Roars. The reason that I do not think it is worth going out of your way to do Cultist Refuge over and over again, or any other particular dungeon for certain items that you're looking for, like Penitent Greaves, for example, or something, is because if I go out of my way to go to Mallwood or any dungeon that has less density, a lot of the uniques, first of all, just don't drop off of the ground. The majority of them that you're going to get from Nightmare Dungeons are from completing the dungeon. But also, if I'm doing a dungeon that has significantly less mob density just for a slightly higher drop rate, I'm actually shooting myself in the foot because I'd way rather just do a dungeon that just has way more enemies, because more enemies means more drop as a whole. And personally, out of all the testing that I have done in playing the game, you know, a lot of people are probably going to be in the comments being like, I got my Tempest Roar in Cultist Refuge, so it works. Personally, I think that that might be a little bit placebo, and correlation is not necessarily causation, right? But feel free to, you know, go out of your way to farm particular dungeons. But from my experience, farming particular dungeons doesn't actually influence the drop rates enough to where it is worth going out of your way to do a dungeon that is less mob dense than doing something like Blind Burrows, which is what I would ultimately recommend. Blind Burrows is literally the perfect dungeon for trying to farm out uniques, not only because it has a ridiculous amount of mobs in there, so you just get like upwards of 4 to 5 legendaries per run, and I've also just gotten a crazy amount of uniques just dropping on the ground because there's so many monsters that you're killing there. But you're also not wasting your time doing a dungeon that doesn't have a lot of mobs. If you're still leveling up, you're going to get a crazy amount of XP here. But also, Blind Burrows fits perfectly with our method because you can actually finish it in roughly a minute, minute and a half if you are in a group, which means that it's simply just all around the best dungeon to do. Another fantastic option is actually Golran Canals. However, it can bug out a lot, and it is not as much XP as Blind Burrows is. So ultimately, I would recommend Blind Burrows in a Nightmare Dungeon. So since our ultimate goal is to actually just complete the Nightmare Dungeon as quickly as humanly possible to try to get a unique out of the completion reward, ideally what we want to do is something like Blind Burrows or Golran Canals, or some dungeon that we are able to complete very quickly, and there's actually multiple ways that we can reset this. One of them is somewhat exploity, which I'll talk about towards the end, but it is more efficient and easier to do. The other one is definitely not an exploit and is just resetting the dungeon, which we have always done, but in order to do either of these, you need a group. So feel free to join my Discord if you're trying to find people to do this with, but it's simply just not possible without a group. So real quickly, I'm just going to clear the entire dungeon and show you guys exactly what you need to do. So ideally, you want to do this in a full group, and basically what you're doing is 3 of you guys are going to actually complete the dungeon, while 1 of you is going to reset, and you're just going to swap off who's actually resetting per dungeon. The other method that I'm going to go over, God, this affix is so annoying. The other method, you don't have to swap off because you can just keep doing it over and over, which I'll show you guys. Real quickly, I'm only in a group of 2, but obviously, ideally you'd be in a full group. So right before we actually complete the entirety of the dungeon, we're going to kill all the infested villagers, right? And then right here, right before I kill the boss, I'm actually, since I'm the party leader, I'm going to promote my friend to party leader, and he is going to click a decline, and then he's going to leave the group. Now that he clicks decline the transfer party, and then he leaves the group, he's basically going to retain the entire dungeon. Now that he has left, ideally again, I would be just in a full group, but now that he has left, I'm just going to complete the dungeon normally, so I'm just going to kill the boss. This dungeon has resource burn, which is not ideal for me, but, you know, it is what it is. So I'm just going to kill the boss, and I'm going to complete the dungeon. A bonus to this, oh, dude, I get this thing all the time. Okay, the bonus to this is that we actually get glyph XP as well as, you know, the items that you get from completion. God, I've looted this chest piece like 50 times, and I can't get the other one. Anyways, we get glyph XP, and then now what I'm going to do is I'm simply just going to join my friend, and he's just holding the dungeon. So I'm going to join on him, and boom, as you can see, it is the same dungeon with resource burn, etc. So we would just do this over and over again and swap turns based on whoever's in the party. Obviously, if there's one person that doesn't need a unique and they're just here for like XP or whatever else, that you could decide to just omit them from the, I guess, rotation of swapping out. However, there is a way to do it without doing a rotation. You may consider this an exploit. I highly doubt Blizzard would ban for it, but Blizzard, if you do this just for educational purposes, okay, so you guys can fix it. Thank you. But basically, this will allow you to do the exact same thing by resetting the dungeon without actually having to swap who's doing it every single time. So basically, it's very simple and it's very stupid how it works. But basically, you know how we were just swapping party leader but clicking decline to transfer the world, and then we were leaving the party to retain the dungeon? Well, for some reason, if you transfer party to somebody and then they just click accept, and then you just finish the dungeon, and then you leave the party, you'll just have the dungeon again. So real quickly, I'll just demonstrate that. So right now, my friend is party leader because of, the previous swap, and then I joined his party. So he is going to make me the party leader. I'm just going to click accept, but you have to do this before you hit any of the mobs. If you hit any of the mobs first, it's not going to work. So basically, you just want to go into the dungeon and then just swap party lead and click accept. Now what I'm going to do, I'm not going to complete the whole dungeon. I'll just go kill one infested villager, and then I'm just going to leave and show you guys that it resets. Alright, so I killed one infested villager there. As you can see, it is at 2 infested villagers. I could clear the whole thing, but I'm being lazy. But yeah, basically you just clear the whole dungeon, and now I'm just going to click leave party. And this way everybody can stay in the party, right? So you could literally complete the entirety of the dungeon, and it will still reset. So as you can see, I have the dungeon again, and you could just do this over and over again. I've done it plenty just for testing purposes, of course, Blizzard, but if you wanted to be safe, the other way is perfectly fine because it's just resetting the dungeon, which people have been doing forever, and you're just resetting it over and over again, retaining the dungeon. While this way is a little bit different because you're swapping party. I mean, you're doing something that's perfectly normal, right? You're definitely abusing it, but you're just swapping party leader, and everybody completes the dungeon, and everybody gets completion, and once the dungeon is just completed, the guy that is party leader will just reset. So I'll quickly just demonstrate that it works again. Alright, I think my Grizzly Rage might run out before I kill the boss. Let's try to nuke him down. Alright, we're good, I think. So I'm going to complete the dungeon here, and as you can see, boom, I got all the rewards, and my friend is still in the party. He didn't actually leave this time, and he's the party leader. So since he's the party leader, and I transferred it to him right before, I'm going to tell him to leave, and he made sure to click accept. Now what's going to happen is he's going to leave. The glyph thing is actually going to spawn on him because he's the party leader, so I'd have to walk all the way over there to get the glyph thing. Not going to do this for this video, but now that he's left, and he's the party leader, all I'm going to do is just join on him, and he's going to have the dungeon again. This one little guy killed me, man. Okay, so I'm going to transfer to him, and then boom, I'm going to have the dungeon again. Sometimes it can bug out and be a little bit weird, but 99% of the time, this is what will happen. And then again, before I decide to hit any of the mobs, here I'll go in there and show you guys that it's reset. Before I decide to hit any of the mobs, I'm going to have him transfer me party leader, and then I click accept, and then we go on our way, and we just do this over and over again. This way, everybody gets all the rewards. I'll leave a written explanation of it down in the description if you guys are curious, but that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Good luck getting all the uniques that you need. And again, feel free to just not do this method if you're worried about exploiting or whatever, but I'm sure it's perfectly fine. But the first method that I mentioned is definitely fine. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys later.